Hello there, can you all hear me okay? Yep, good. I had planned on starting this presentation by saying good morning. That was before Fode's presentation, so I'll say good afternoon. My name is Mark Mullally. I'm the Systems Manager of Cars Tool Steels. Last year, I mentioned to Mayor that a lot of the user presentations about people starting their journey with priority, and said maybe what you need is a presentation from a user who's used the system for a lot longer. Be careful what you wish for. This is the first presentation I've done in an awful long time. Let's just see how it goes. First of all, I want to tell you a little bit about Cars Tool Steels. We trace our lineage back to a company called Richard W. Cars, which was formed in Sheffield in 1902, 122 years ago. Now, they had a steel mill which manufactured tool steel specifically, and a series of distribution warehouses around the country. Now, in the late 80s, early 90s, like a lot of the UK steel industry, Richard W. Cars were in serious problems, and the company fell into receivership in 1992. Now, the problems, as identified by part of the management team, were the steel production side, not the retail distribution side. So, as I say, part of the management team organised a management buyout in 1992 of the Smethwick warehouse, and that is what became Cars Tool Steels. The idea for the business is we were independent from a steel mill, so we could go around the world and buy the best products for the tool maker that we could find. Weren't tied to a mill. We relocated to our current premises in Smethwick, from Smethwick to Tipton in 1997, and in 2013 there was a second management buyout with a younger team of directors. Well, I say younger, we're all roughly the same age, and myself and the two directors now have just shy of 100 years experience working with Cars Tool Steels, with me being the junior partner, having only been at Cars for 31 years. Now, what is tool steel? Well, I could give you a long-winded description. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. Now, what I've got here is a 2-minute video, and on my calculations, at 24 frames a second, that's the equivalent of 3 million words. So a lot more than I could say. I was going to talk over the video as it played, but I think it's easier if I just describe what actually happens. The video shows our material, our products, in 3 applications. Plastic molding, cold forming or cold stamping, and then in a hot work application. I'll play the video and this is a process called locking up, which normally when you buy a piece of tool steel, it's the first thing you need to do. Get it square and flat. Then the tool maker will go through a series of machining operations. Different parts of tools are put together. This is loaded into a plastic molding machine, where you will have a male and female part. Pushed together, plastic material pushed into that, the end product is plastic melts. I think in this instance these are nozzles for a labelling system where the label comes out at the end. So there we have the end tool, and this is like the tool steel from which it's made out of. This video, you don't actually see our product or what it's been made into, you just see the end result, which is metal being stamped and formed and cut. And thirdly, we have a hot work application where our metal's being made into the tools that are then used to stamp the heated metal here. Now each of these applications, and there are more applications that we cover, are require different specifications of steel. And as a company, we supply the tool making materials and the expertise to ensure that you're using the correct materials for the job. Historically, most of what the tool maker has used has been steel-based with certain alloying elements such as tungsten, nickel, chromium, used at different levels will provide each particular grade of steel with different properties, whether that's being used in the die casting, plastic moulding, hot work, cold work. Particular grades of steel are suited to particular applications. We also sell aluminium blocks, which are used in the die casting, plastic moulding industry, and for very high specification applications also can supply powdered metallurgy products, which are basically you start with a powdered metal and squash it together under very high pressure and heat, and the end product is harder and stronger and tougher than a piece of metal. And we also sell something that took me a long time to get my head around, which is gas permeable steel. Now that's used in plastic moulding applications where if you're pushing molten plastic into the mould, the air has to go somewhere. So the air can go through the gas permeable steel, but the material doesn't go any further. And we can offer all these products as purely the raw material, as a part finished tool, or as a fully finished tool. You send us the drawings of your tooling, we can supply the material and subcontract the work and send you back the finished tool. Now what we aim to do is offer the most advanced materials. Unfortunately, there isn't much of a tool steel manufacturing base left within the UK now, so we have to go around the world to get the tool steel and aluminium products and import them all. But we aim to offer the best materials that are out there so that the tool maker can firstly produce their tooling faster, can manufacture more products with the tool and use it at a higher rate. Now, above all, what we want to do is make sure that the products we're offering are of the best quality. There was, I think it may be an apocryphal story that I was told when I joined Cars of there was a tool maker making a tool for well, let's just say they are a large West Midlands car manufacturer. I've been told I'm not supposed to say what the name of this car manufacturer was, and let's call them Leopard cars. Now, they needed to buy a piece of tool steel to make a casting that would produce something like this. This is a an automatic gearbox, which is cast. Now, if you see how complicated that is, imagine how complex the tool to cast that must be, and how large the piece of metal is. So we offered them a piece of material. They wanted to save some money, went to somewhere that was a cheaper source. They then did a lot of manufacturing work, starting with a piece of material that was £2,000, say a few £1,000s. By the time they'd done all the machining work to make that piece of metal into something that you could cast a gearbox like that out of, it was worth £30,000. Then they found there was a problem with the quality of the steel. So wasted, £30,000 down the drain. I understand that the next time that tool maker had to make a tool for Leopard cars, they came back to us. Okay, so you want to hear, we're here to find out about priority. I'll tell you a little bit about our journey through using priority. When car started in 1992, we inherited the systems from Richard W. Cars. We had a lot of manual systems, Excel spreadsheets, Rolodex cards, paper systems. By 1998, we realized that wasn't the way forward. We had to change. We had to find a system that would cover all our requirements. Now, we realized we had a lot of unique requirements with what we do as a company. We first started looking at industry-specific products for the tool steel market, well, not the tool steel market per se, but the steel stockholder market, and realized there wasn't anything out there. We also considered a bespoke development. So we spent a good while talking to a software house and speccing what it was we wanted our system to do. And I think when the projected cost came to £500,000, we thought, no, this is silly, let's walk away. So the next stage was looking around general ERP systems, and we talked to an awful lot of ERP vendors. One that springs to mind was a company called Syncon, who had a product called Manage, was it, Phil? Yeah. Wonder what ever happened to that. Yeah, I met Phil in one of his previous roles, shall we say, in probably 1999? Yeah, 99. Yep. Okay, but cut a long story short, we eventually got the stage where we selected Priority in May 2003. Two of the reasons, there were a lot of reasons, but two of the main reasons were because, firstly, it could be customized, but customized in-house. There was one of the slides I saw from the presentation earlier that had a rocket on it. Priority isn't rocket science. I realized it was a pretty simple process to be able to modify the system. And the other key thing was, once it had been upgraded, once it had been customized, you can still upgrade. A lot of companies we talked to were happy to modify their systems to meet our requirements, but that was it. That was a line in the sand. The system then couldn't be upgraded. As I think one of the presentations mentioned this morning, Priority was designed to be customized at its core from day one. I'm not going to dwell on our implementation. It took a while. We had an awful lot of requirements that had to be customized. The initial plan was they would all be covered by Medatech, or emerge at the time. They did that work, presented it to us, and we thought, we need to go further. So we then did a lot of in-house customization, expanded the areas of the system that were customized, and I say it took us a while, but we got there. So, how much customization have we got? Well, at the last count, I would say we have about 38,000 lines of our own code. Now, for anybody who is familiar with the coding, you'll realize that's quite a lot. Also, 20,000 lines of code in our procedures and reports and documentation as well. Just as an aside, does anybody remember when Priority looked like this? I think this is going back to, well, it would be 04, so it'd be version 10, 10.1? It's changed a lot. Okay, right. What I want to do now is just give you an overview of some of the areas that we've that we've modified to give you an idea of what's possible. It works for us, so I wonder who started this screen. There we go. Oh, let's see if it's a mouse. There we go. Oh. There we go. Okay, in true Blue Peter fashion, hopefully here's one I prepared earlier. Okay, what I just want to run through is how we have customized and streamlined the system to meet our specific requirements. Here we have a price quotation. Just going to play is, yeah, okay. Right, the demo I want to give here is, let's assume a customer rings up, I think it was Rachel Ryan from Blaze Tooling, rings up and says, okay, I want a particular piece of, capitals mark, particular piece of material. Oh, come on. And a particular size, 25 millimeters by 40 millimeters by 50 millimeters. And because we're dealing with a part that is ordered and stocked in 3 dimensions, so we need to record the dimensions, those 3 dimensions of every single piece of stock we have. And we also need to be able to match the customer's requirements against what stock we actually have available. So in this instance, I say, the customer's rung up and said, I want 5 pieces of product 09B, ABF, and size is 25 mil by 40 mil by 50 mil. We then have to go and see how we can satisfy that from stock. This is all at the quotation stage. So we then search the stock. Okay, and what that has done is then look through all the stock that we have available. In this instance, 200 pieces, and has found the most suitable piece to satisfy that order from. Okay, yep, okay, we're going to take that piece. It's orientated slightly differently, but we can cut that 5 pieces from the length at 40 millimeter. Okay, load that up into, right, it's warning me that this is a slightly different quality material, and if you're on the phone, you'd be able to tell the prospective customer, it's not quite what you want it, but it does the job. It may even be better than the requirement. Right, and what this is doing now is it's created the, we have the red line is the requirement line that the customer's asked for, and the green line is our offer line. And behind the scenes, I fall into the same trap as Fode did by pressing the print screen button. Why did he put that next to F12? I never know. Okay, that has also, this is a quote, again, we've built a route. immediately from the quote. And that, if the customer wanted that piece, that route would follow the material through to order and works order, and we don't have to rebuild that route. It is a very simple route, but we're basically just saying, take a piece of material and cut it, and the parameters in that route are cut the length to 40 millimeter. If you recall back at the start of the video, one of the first tasks that the toolmaker has to do is block up the material, which is basically taking the block of steel that has decarb on it, and mill all the faces so you get a square block of material that can then be machined. Now, quite often, that material is blocked up on very expensive CNC machines, and it's not a very cost-effective way of doing it. So, Cars were the first tool steel supplier in Europe who could offer a service where we can pre-block up your material. So we can supply fully milled, ready milled to a near mirror finish on the steel. Now, quite often, when we get somebody ringing up, they won't ask for that product, but we want to offer it to them. So as part of the quote, we can just say, right, okay, we've done the requirement line, we've done the offer line. Let's give the customer the option of, it's a Q line, which is a ready milled part. So we then say to the customer, well, what sizes would you want it ready milled to? So let's just take a millimeter off each of these. Okay, and is that going to, yep, go away and do something, good. Okay, and in the background, that has then taken the original route and added on the extra milling operations needed to produce the ready-milled piece of material. And finally, in this, come on. We'd then be able to automatically produce a quote that goes to the customer that, again, programmatically, we are generating the descriptions and the text that goes into the price quotes. Okay, so that is how we've customized the system to cope with the specific requirements of selling and stocking our product. One of the other areas we've done a lot of customization work is in streamlining the operations. When Ian was doing the presentation before, there was a lot of screens we're jumping between. Now, yeah, I mean, we started doing that, updating one screen, moving to the next thing, moving to the next screen, fine. When you've got somebody doing that day after day after day, you think, isn't there a quicker way of doing this? Most companies send products out to their customers, as we do, but we also send a lot of material out to subcontractors. And the process, physically, is just the same. You take a piece of material, you stick a label on it, you produce a piece of paper that goes with that material, that then gets sent to your dispatch company, your transport company, and they take it to the customer or the supplier. Now, I'm sure a lot of you use the deliveries by order screen, scheduling your deliveries. Please be here. Right, okay. We've amended this by combining both goods being ready to be dispatched to the customer with goods that are ready to go to the subcontractor. So rather than having two separate processes, there's one screen that covers it all. And then after that, rather than then thinking, well, I've got to produce my dispatch note, print it, produce my shipping to subcontractor note and print it. Again, we just have a single process that allows us to do all of that. So we could choose to just do the customer dispatches or the subcontracted dispatches or all of them. Well, sorry, I missed out the collection notes there, where obviously if a piece of material is ready to come back from a subcontractor, or on the rare occasions that something goes wrong with a piece of material at a customer site and we have to go and collect it, then generating that note as well. And again, it's just a single press of a button, goes away, creates the customer shipment, prints them, sends notifications to either the customer or the subcontractor that the material is on their way, and just cuts down the number of different screens that users have to use and processes that they have to go through. And finally, an area that we've done some other customization work is where we thought there were parts of the system that were missing, that were lacking. Yes, we can generate customer return documents and credit notes, but there's always a level before that. When a customer rings up and says, I have a problem, sometimes that will result in a collection or a credit note, or maybe just go straight to a credit note rather than have to receive the material again. But the first thing we want to do is make sure that the customer is happy, or we try and make the customer happy again. We built something called our customer complaint system, which basically links all the documents that are involved in a complaint that the customer may have together. So I hope that Medatech Europe aren't here today. If you are, then this will get sorted. This will get sorted soon. So Medatech have rung up and said, well, there's been a size issue with one of your orders. And we asked some questions ourselves, was the works order the correct size? Well, yes, it was, so they've just cut it wrong. So what we need to do is collect the order, check that it's as the customer says, credit and replace. So we can link all the documents involved together. In this instance, we've got the customer return. We've already started that. The goods are coming back. We've decided that it's a valid complaint. We load the works orders so we can see who's been responsible for the error. And the one thing that isn't on here is we haven't generated the replacement part. Sorry, the replacement order. So we can just say, yep, okay, replacement order. Let's create a replacement. There we go. Fingers crossed. Now, the output of this feeds into our quality system. So we can see if there's any repetitive errors that are being made and where people need more training. or where we need to make corrective action, take corrective action. So we generated the replacement order, and there it is down the bottom. So everything to do with that complaint is kept together. So those are just sort of three of the areas where we've been able to modify the system. Can we switch back to... Okay. So what else has changed in the past 20 years of cars? You will notice that's a slightly different picture than the one previously of the building. Those are 588 solar panels. I was trying to get the installer to be able to blank out quite a few so we could write cars across the top. Didn't quite work. Well, over the years, we've introduced certainly a lot of new products, new processes like the ready-milled product, and we've also targeted a lot of new markets. Now, each time we've done this, or done one of those, there's been the need to make slight modifications to how the system works to target those the best way that we can. And to be quite honest, each time we've needed to do things differently, priorities been able to meet those challenges. And we've certainly had a lot of changes in what customers want. I think we all know that customers are becoming a lot more demanding these days. They want to specify more about the products, knowing where it's come from, obviously where it is. They want more documentation, certification with the products, and again, we've been able to build these into what Priority does quite simply. There's also been a lot of regulatory changes. One of the first things we had to do was change VAT rates, and it seems weird going back, I think that was 2004. Again, handles easy, as was the Intrastat reporting, and most recently making tax digital. I don't think we can talk about the past 20 years without mentioning COVID. I have no idea where cars would have been without Priority in March 2020. At the start of March 2020, we were still using the old client-server version. Everybody was office-based. By the end of March, we'd all migrated to the web version and were working remotely. And obviously came through 2020 successfully. And I think since COVID, we've all found that there are new ways of working. We can access Priority from anywhere, be that home, on the road, at a customer site, at a presentation. And unfortunately, I found out to my cost when you're on holiday too. So that's either by using the web interface or more and more also using Priority Mobile. Now, I remember sitting in user conferences probably 7-8 years ago, listening to the first introduction of where Priority Mobile was going to go and thinking, nah, never going to book. Who's going to need that? Who's going to need it? But yeah, I mean, now you have got Priority in the palm of your hand. You could do all of Priority from anywhere. But I think it is, from a personal point of view, it's you've got to be careful what you're using the tool for. Sometimes there's too much information. It's unwieldy. Don't try and do everything with this. This is what we found. Don't try and do too much with it. It works best when you limit the amount of information that you have in your hand. We've taken a little step further by, rather than just using the standard forms, customer forms, sales, etc., we've built our own forms to use within Priority, Priority Mobile, with the key thing being that we've limited the number of form fields that we have. So, for instance, if the third field down, rather than having all that information as separate fields, we just combine it all together, so the user isn't having to scroll up and down. Now, we built our own shop floor data collection system, and we have deployed this on Zebra handhelds with built-in scanners, and it's working fine. It's working great. It's tailored specifically for what we do. Okay, a little mention of how we've developed the system. We learned very quickly to our cost that you need to follow Priority's rules. If you don't, firstly, Medatech and Priority aren't happy with you, and it gets you in a bit of a mess, to be quite honest. We learned by example. So if you are going to make changes to the system, never modify the live environment directly. Follow the rules of having a development and a test system so that you can make sure that any changes you make are fully tested before you put them onto the live system. And one thing we tried to do is customize as a last resort. There are so many more tools in Priority now than there were when we started using it, in terms of the autofill generators and business rules in terms of giving warning and error messages. Initially, we'd built a lot of those into the as code within the system. We've actually spent quite a lot of time reversing those out. And listening to the previous presentations, I think we're going to be spending a lot more time reversing code out and letting the system do what it's designed to. And finally, my last point on that is, yes, we have modified the standard code in certain places. If you do that, be very careful. Make sure you know exactly why you've done it. Otherwise, your version upgrades will be rather tricky. Okay, so after 20 years of using Priority, can I put a return of investment on the system? Well, no, not really. How can you after that length of time? It is the business now. If it wasn't there, I don't think there would be a business now. It is so key and so integrated with what we do. I suppose the main benefit, I say there, is we haven't had to replace. Probably the biggest investment we made was the time and effort of implementing the system. I didn't mention how long it took. I know I probably this will be something that people from Medatech will tell you is an extreme case, but it took us 4 years. Near enough 4 years to go from taking the system to actually fully going live. We invested massively to get it to the point that we needed. But After 20 years, priority is still key to the business. Cars have changed, but priority is kept pace. And from the previous presentations I've seen this morning, I've learned two things. Firstly, I'm probably a dinosaur in terms of coding myself and doing that work. That will all be replaced now or going forward. But the other thing is, it means that everybody can customize your system to exactly how you want it. You can, well, I think I'll just leave it there. Sorry, that's it. That's 20 years.
Thank you, Mark. Very much.
Thank you.